gardeners. It's a beautiful spring day in April, and I thought I would real quick follow up on my lawn alternative experiment over here. So it's about time for the first mow of the season. I thought I would clean this up and give it a little trim and then look and see what has come back. So this is the second year that this has been growing, and most of it has come back. It's a little sparse, but that's probably because of the mistakes I made last year, and I'll talk about that after I finish cleaning it up. Okay, so we'll start with the part where I just raked it, and I'll do each section one at a time. This is where we just raked and put in clover seed. There is almost no clover in here whatsoever. This is where we raked and put in crimson clover, and again, hardly anything visible here. This is where we raked and put in the dryland mix, which we did get quite a bit of yarrow. So the yarrow came up. This was actually a big mound before I mowed. It was really tall, but of course mowing took it down quite a bit. I absolutely love yarrow in the grass though. It's one of the softest things to walk on. If you keep it low. This has some pretty stiff stems because it bloomed. But you got to keep mowing it, and it is just absolutely phenomenal to walk on. Okay, and last, over here, this is where we raked and put in micro clover. And again, I hardly see any. Some right there and there. And there's some in the garden where there wasn't any grass. You see some there, but not where the lawn was. So micro clover, oh, there's one right there. Micro clover, it seems you definitely need to remove the grass. Well, actually, hold on. Let me see on aeration before I say that. This is where we aerated. There is some micro clover here. So in this section we aerated and we raked. And we did get a fair amount of micro clover. All the way up here, it actually came in really well right there. Alright, this is the dryland mix. You can see lots of yarrow. There's a few wildflowers. So that might be that springweed stuff. Hold on. And I thought I saw some over here. Maybe not. Nope, just yarrow. Only the yarrow survived, is what it seems. I'll do an update video once it gets established if anything else is different, but I think just the yarrow survived. Here's the crimson clover. Here's some right here. It's got quite a fuzzy leaf, so it's rather distinctive as far as clovers go. A little bit of the crimson clover came back. Just a little bit more right here. Here. It's very low growing. There's quite a bit of this stuff. This is a weed that I call it springweed because it grows, blooms, and dies within a few weeks, and it's such an insignificant weed that I haven't even committed the name to memory. Maybe I'll do a video on it someday so I might remember. I don't know. And then aeration on the Dutch clover right here. The lawn is very thick, and I do not see very much Dutch clover coming up here yet. So we'll have have to follow up on that again in the spring. Now, where we did the sod cutting, the ground looks very sparse, but look at how much of the desirable plant came back. We still have some grass that came up from the roots, but there's Dutch clover. Dutch clover. This is all Dutch clover right in here. Good stuff. And then, let's see, there's my yarrow. That must have spread from the other. Here's the crimson clover. Crimson clover is coming back. Not as thickly as the Dutch. There's a whole bunch of it, so it's seeded successfully in this spot. And then over here, the dryland mix, again, all I'm really seeing is yarrow. I don't see very many of the other wildflowers, but it did come back, and it does look very nice. And here's the microclover. Quite a bit of microclover, some big old dandelion, and quite a bit of yarrow that spread. No crimson clover here. Well, here. There is yarrow though. Thirsty. It's really thirsty. There's almost no clover here either. Quick update on my front lawn. I had power raked this and then sown what was supposed to be a native wildflower mix. Problem is I got my mixes mixed up and put in the one that's not completely native. There are wildflowers in here, but none of them took, except for a few that spread into my flower bed. There are a couple of self-heals and a few other things that spread over here that I went ahead and left. That's this one. That's plantain, that wasn't in the mix. And then this one. Those came up, but nothing came up in the lawn, and I thought the whole mix was a complete dud and nothing grew. But apparently the clover did finally take. It just took a year. And so this was with power raking, and after waiting a full year, I finally have clover. But still no wildflowers. All right, so there you have it. From what I can see, just raking is not enough to sow these seeds. Aeration is better, and it does leave the lawn to hold the dirt down so it doesn't just look like a dead, ick field in the spring. The best germination and best success rate as far as what survived the winter is definitely where we removed the sod. So I think now we know, and you can take this information and apply it to your situation and hopefully make an informed decision of how to sow these things. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. So I've mowed a couple times since I started filming this video. I left the yarrow long because it's blooming and it's so pretty. I'll probably leave this long all year so it can go to seed the rest of this, because at this point I think the original purpose of the experiment is pretty much done. I've seen what sowing methods work and which don't, and then I've also seen that yes, the clover does die back in the winter and it comes back newly from seed. So if you want your dirt to always be held together, you might want to leave your grass in place, but that's if you do clover. Yarrow sticks around a little bit better. So, pros and cons with each thing. I hope this was valuable and that you took away enough information that you're now informed on
best practices, pros and cons, and you can make your own decisions for your situation. Thanks again for watching. I'll keep posting updates about this just as it goes. If anybody's interested, let me know in the comments below. And on that note, guys, I'll see you in the garden.